What's up, all you Quantum Maniacs? I'm DeQuan Young, and today we present the most fixed Super Bowl of all time. Don't forget to subscribe to TPS and make sure you hit the bell and turn on our notifications to join the notification squad. And don't forget to leave your video ideas down in the comment section below. We're looking and we'll give you a shout out in the video if you use it. Now, match fixing is unfortunately a part of sports. FIFA recently had a major scandal on it, and don't forget about the Black Sox scandal. And no matter what teams tell you, we know a lot of them try to tank. It's as simple as that. Now, this will probably never go away, and we just have to accept that fact. Now, the NFL has had its fair share of officiating controversies, but one particular event stands out from the rest, and that would be Super Bowl 40, played between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Seattle Seahawks in Detroit. While many of us try to remember it as the bus's perfect send-off as a champion in his hometown, it's too hard to forget that this game had so many officiating mistakes to the point where people to this day believe the fix was in. The background. Nobody was surprised to see the Seattle Seahawks reach Super Bowl 40. They were led by MVP running back Shaun Alexander and quarterback Matt Hasselbeck. The Seahawks earned the top seed in the NFC with a 13-3 record. They took out the Washington Redskins in the divisional round before destroying the Carolina Panthers in the conference championship game by a score of 34-14. Now, the same can't be said about the Pittsburgh Steelers, however. Nobody gave them much of a chance heading into the postseason. They nabbed the top wildcard spot and took down Carson Palmer and the AFC North champion Cincinnati Bengals. Next up, the Indianapolis Colts, the top team in the AFC. Now, they were supposed to crush the Steelers in the divisional round, but Pittsburgh frustrated Peyton Manning and company all game long. Pittsburgh barely held on for a 21-18 victory, as Colts kicker Mike Vanderjagt missed a 46-yard field goal at the end of regulation that would have forced overtime.
And it's no good. He missed it. Not even close. Wide right.
Okay, but the run had to end a week later, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers visited Jake Plummer and the Denver Broncos in the AFC Championship game. And the Broncos just hammered Tom Brady's New England Patriots in the divisional round. It was the first postseason defeat of TB12's legendary career. But the Steelers came into the Mile High City and pulled off a third unlikely road upset. They scored 21 points in the second quarter and never looked back, winning 34-17 en route to a Super Bowl 40 appearance. And as luck would have it, the city of Detroit was hosting Super Bowl 40, and Jerome Bettis was a Motor City native, so it was setting up nicely for him to retire as a champion in his own city. Little did everybody know that Super Bowl 40 was going to be remembered for all the wrong reasons. The buildup. As you know, any city that hosts a Super Bowl has to act neutral. You need to have an even amount of merchandise, signs, decorations, and such for every team. But Detroit made it no secret who they wanted to win. Days before the Super Bowl, then Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick gave Bettis a key to the city. He said it was Jerome Bettis week, not Super Bowl week. So, on top of that, the state called February 1st Jerome Bettis Day, 4 days before the Super Bowl. Again, so much for being a neutral site for the Super Bowl. Dan Shaughnessy, a longtime sports writer for the Boston Globe, summarized the scene of the Motor City during Super Bowl week. There were RVs and Winnebagos with Pennsylvania license plates all over the streets of Motown as Steeler Nation turned Super Bowl XL into a private party of gold and black. It was suggested by broadcaster Al Michaels that 80% of fans in attendance were Steeler supporters. It truly looked like the game was being played at Heinz Field. You might say that the terrible Towlers were a terrible problem for the Seahawks. They were pretty much playing an away game inside Ford Field. The Steelers looked like they had home field advantage, and it was setting up perfectly for Bettis to go out on top and for the Steelers to bring home Lombardi Trophy number 5. The only thing that could ruin such a great sporting event, well, controversy and bad officiating. And unfortunately, we saw plenty of it in this one. The game. The game was scoreless late in the first quarter, but the Seahawks drove into the red zone and were on the verge of getting that pivotal first touchdown. And they got it all right. Hasselbeck found Darrell Jackson in the end zone for a touchdown, but the officials penalized him for offensive pass interference. John Madden had a tough time understanding why Jackson was penalized.
You know, when you think of push-offs, that's not the kind you think about, really.
The Steelers' defense buckled down, and the Seahawks had to settle for a field goal. It was a 4-point swing on a very, very bad call. Both defenses kept flexing their muscles, but the Steelers drove down to the Seahawks' 5-yard line. On a crucial 3rd and goal play, Ben Roethlisberger rolled out and dove for the end zone, and officials ruled it a touchdown. The officials reviewed the play, and if you take a closer look, it's hard to see when and where the ball crossed the goal line. But of course, they upheld the touchdown rule. And with that, the Steelers led 7-3 thanks to some stingy defense, one horrible pass interference call against Seattle, and a questionable ruling on Big Ben's touchdown. But folks, this game was far from done, and the controversy was only going to get worse from here. Too bad, because you'd like to think that the officials would have learned from their mistakes and just let the guys play. Willie Parker scored a 75-yard touchdown in the second half to put the Steelers up 14-3. And Pittsburgh was looking to ice the game, and they were inside the Seattle 10-yard line. But Kelly Herndon came up with a huge interception and returned it all the way to the Steelers' 20-yard line. Moments later, Hasselbeck found Jeremy Stevens in the end zone for a touchdown. The score was 14-10, and momentum was finally on Seattle's side. The Seahawks got the ball back, and trailing by 4 points with 12.5 minutes to go, were driving deep into Pittsburgh territory. Hasselbeck found Stevens over the middle, and he was tackled just a yard short of the end zone. But hang on, the officials called a tacky holding penalty on Sean Locklear of the Seahawks.
Holding. Number 75 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
And yes, this penalty call baffled John Madden once again.
Oh, I didn't see holding. I mean, you have to be able to jam up in there. Well, they always say that, you can call holding on any play, but we saw there, I did not see holding.
Hasselbeck was sacked on the next play, and on the next one, Joey Porter of the Steelers may have gotten away with the horse collar on Shaun Alexander.
On the ground now, Alexander sprints to the outside, and Alexander gets collared at the 26-yard line by Joey Porter. Close to a horse collar, but no call.
So instead of a penalty, which would have given Seattle a fresh set of downs, the Seahawks had a brutal 3rd and long to go. Hasselbeck was then picked off by Ike Taylor around the 5-yard line, and it was all downhill from there for Seattle. If you thought Seattle wasn't unlucky enough during that sequence, Hasselbeck was penalized for a block below the waist following the interception.
Personal foul. Block below the waist. Number 8 of the passing team. 15-yard penalty. First down.
And once again, Michaels and Madden expressed their confusion with the penalty call.
We think it's a bad call. Again, if you cut a blocker low, that's a penalty. But that time, you made the tackle low, and that's legal.
Pittsburgh received the ball just shy of midfield, and they put the game away with one of the most impressive trick plays in recent memory. Wide receiver Antoine Randall played quarterback and threw a 43-yard touchdown pass to Hines Ward to put the Steelers up by 11. Now that was pretty much the ball game. The Steelers milked most of the clock, and the Seahawks were forced to use all their timeouts. They got the ball back with less than 2 minutes left, but in this instance, you couldn't really blame the officials. Seattle wasted too much time, and what they did on the second-to-last play of the game was mind-numbing. Rather than kick a field goal and cut the lead to 8 and attempt an onside kick, the Seahawks ran a short pass and couldn't get out of bounds, and they couldn't clock it on 4th down either. So, they tried a miracle heave to the end zone that fell incomplete. And with that, the ball game was over. The Steelers defeated the Seahawks 21-10. Bill Cowher finally had his first Super Bowl. Bettis was indeed going out as a champion, and they tied the Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco 49ers for the most Lombardi trophies with 5. Good on the Steelers, and nobody should have tried to take away what they accomplished. But were they ever on the right side of every single garbage call by the officials?
We knew it was going to be tough going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I didn't know we were going to have to play the guys in the striped shirts as well.
When's the last time one team was the beneficiary of so much controversy in just one game? The aftermath. Well, this certainly wasn't what we had in mind. I'm sure everybody who watched this game can remember going into work or school the next day to complain about the officiating mistakes and possible rig job. The officiating was especially bad when Bill Levy himself admitted that he botched a ton of calls. 4 years after Super Bowl 40, Levy had this to say about the worst performance of his otherwise superb career as a referee. It was a tough thing for me. I kicked 2 calls in the 4th quarter and I impacted the game. And as an official, you never want to do that. It left me with a lot of sleepless nights, and I think about it constantly. I'll go to my grave wishing that I'd been better. The Steelers suffered a Super Bowl hangover and missed the playoffs the following season. The Seahawks wound up winning the NFC West, but the Chicago Bears eliminated them in the divisional round. The following year, both teams won their respective divisions to get back into the postseason. However, the Seahawks were crushed by Brett Favre's Green Bay Packers in the divisional round, and that was pretty much their last chance to win in the Shaun Alexander, Matt Hasselbeck, Mike Holmgren era. Holmgren would step down as head coach of the Seahawks after the 2008 season. Hasselbeck left Seattle in the 11 offseason and spent the rest of his career as a backup. But the 2013 Seahawks, led by Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, and the Legion of Boom, would erase all the painful memories of Super Bowl 40 for the franchise by defeating the Denver Broncos in Super Bowl 48, bringing home the organization's first Lombardi trophy. The Steelers would defeat the Arizona Cardinals in Super Bowl 43. They made it back to the big game 2 years later, but fell to the Green Bay Packers, and the Steelers kept falling short from then on out. It's been over a decade since the Super Bowl 40 debacle, and ever since that event, we haven't seen an NFL game nor a major North American sports championship game or series endure so much horrible officiating, to the point where people are still wondering if the game was rigged.
You talk about a game smelling of orchestration. That game stunk to high heaven. It left you feeling dirty by the time you turned it off.
Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but with every call going Pittsburgh's way, you can never be sure of anything. We'll never know the full truth, but we can only hope that we'll never see officiating this bad ever again. Do you think Super Bowl 40 was fixed? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps us out a ton, and we truly appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.